So I've been on kind of an Awakening buzz. Not only did I do 3 consecutive support sciences on Awakening, but I'm also playing Awakening randomized. I've been just into Awakening and like the supports and the lore and the characters and stuff like that lately, so I wanted to have a quick little, a short video just talking about my top 10 favorite Awakening visual artworks from the game. It's a nice change of pace. I've been really concentrating a lot on the Celica support science. But since that's been taking a really long time because I've been in arguments with my editors and we've been going back and forth with, you know, our takes on Celica, all in like good passion and talk and discussion and stuff because it's a touchy subject, kind of. It is a divisive video, but I'm really looking forward to it. But, you know, in the midst of all that, I want to just talk about my top 10 favorite Awakening designs. So I have them here, and I'm just going to jump right into it. So my number 10 pick is Libra. I've always been partial to like priest-type characters, and seeing like a war monk is a nice evolution. Is like a neat evolution to the whole getup. You have like his gauntlets and his axe and stuff like that. And while I know he's meant to look holy, like he's meant to be a holy man, and his clothes should be like white, it is a little bit too generic for my taste. So at number 9, I've got Gregor. I really like this pose. It's nice and fun and relaxed, all smiles and stuff. He's just laughing it up. And I think it represents Gregor well. The color scheme seems drab and brownish and washed out, but that makes it work because Gregor is like an older character, and it really comes off like he's from an older generation of like the mercenary line, especially when you compare it to like Severa or Inigo, wearing this baggy, like worn out uniform type thing. It's a nice, cool, dynamic kind of pose where he's just sitting down. Number 8, I've got Yanfei. One of my favorite things about Yanfei is his color scheme. The dark purple and the gold are colors that I think always work well together. It doesn't just remind me of like the LA Lakers, but it also reminds me of just regalness and how like purple and gold are nice colors that are kind of royal colors in my opinion. His headgear is pretty interesting too. I always am a sucker for headgear and masks and stuff like that, so you can imagine a couple more people who are on this list. But, you know, overall, like the minimalist design, but like the sleekness of the pauldrons and the armor makes it look pretty nifty. I like his pose too. It's like similar to Long Ku, but I think this does it better because it's more of a stance rather than just kind of Long Ku kind of staring at the back of his shoulder like that. It's edgy, but it's like a cool kind of edgy. And number 7 is the complete opposite of that, and that's Gangrel. So I have Gangrel here because his pose pretty much tells you all there is to know about the guy. I think the bright yellow cape and the Levin sword put together really, really works. It's a nice combination. The sword is like this crazy thunder sword that has like these jagged back and forth edges like a lightning bolt, and he's a maniacal king, and he's just absolutely off the hinges and crazy. So I think it works together quite well. And yeah, the fact that his pose is like he's kind of just leaning back and he's like, ah, it's like he's indulging in the craziness, and I think the art is also indulging in that craziness too. From a class perspective, this makes Gangrel stick out even more because the Trickster was like an exclusive to Awakening, so it's a new sort of look for Fire Emblem classes and stuff, and it's still unique to Awakening now. Really cool and flashy and crazy, and his hair and his beard and his crown, it's all cool shit. It's all cool. Next up is number 6, who is Jerome. He just looks so cool. Like, he looks straight out of like Gotham City, man. Really, like I said, I mean, Batman jokes aside, I think it's an interesting take on wyverns in this franchise, and I'm pretty, like I said, pretty partial to masks and headgear and stuff. And he legit looks like he comes out of like the comic books, like DC Comics and stuff, like the white eyes and the mask and stuff like that, and like the dark color scheme. Pose is cool and stoic, and the way he holds his axe really like weirdly reminds me of like if it was literally like Dick Grayson and he was about to like go to town against some like thugs or something. The last kind of interesting touch is like the pink hair. Cherish's hair really makes it pop out, and I think makes it more memorable. I think if his hair was also black, then it would kind of actually take away from the costume, but since it's so bright and it pops out compared to the rest of the getup, it's pretty cool. Next up, I have Chrom. So I think what Chrom's getup manages to do is it pulls off the combination of like being princely but also being kind of a wild card. You have like your sleeveless top and your shiny and your worn out cape, but you also have like your shiny pauldron and like your pantaloons. That said, I think there are some like weird design choices with Chrom because I don't really think it's very necessary to have like 2 different like legging things. It's like kind of over the top in that sense. Is this intentionally unnecessary, or is it like, did you like in universe decide that you wanted to wear 2 different leggings? It's just, I don't get it. Like, who would have made this design choice like in the game? I don't really understand. But overall, like, I really, obviously he's number 5 or 6, so I really do like his design. I think as a lord with a personality that's like, yeah, you have responsibilities, but you also kind of wanted to let loose. I'm really curious to know if like Kozaki drew Ephraim in this way, if she would have a different sort of take on what Ephraim would have looked like if it was kind of the same thing where he's like this warrior prince, but he'd rather be on the field fighting and stuff. Chrom, I think, really strikes that balance pretty good. Next up is Priam. This guy, I don't know how to explain it, but I don't know about you guys. This guy looks like he comes straight out of like a future tech Fire Emblem game. Like the Ragnail, of course, looks pretty worn out and ancient, but like his armor is so bright and glossy and shiny. It has like this futuristic design to it. And like the pauldron, the hip armor, and like that stuff seems like out of this world. And I guess that's kind of the point, because I'm pretty sure Priam is not supposed to be of this world. I think the additional touches, like the gradient on his armor as if like their sun is reflecting over that, and everything else just makes him seem like he's from like another dimension pretty much. I think it's really, really cool. It looks super clean, and it's just one of those like memorable colors and designs and stuff. I think the hero design in Awakening is pretty interesting. I like Flavia's, but I definitely like Priam's more because I think his colors work better. I also am more partial to blue than red. Speaking of blue and also red, so Basilio is my number 3. I think he's just so badass, man. Like, I'm a sucker for warrior designs to begin with, but I really also like Awakening's take on them. He has like the warrior mane, like the classic the warrior thing going on here, and he also has like this fancy regal like golden armor, and like the designs and like the gilding or the trim on like the armor itself is pretty nifty. But like the giant gold like wrestling belt's cool. Like the eye patch is a nice touch. Like the pose is badass and dynamic. Basilio's a cool character. He's just this like big black dude who's like the Khan, and he's just like a warrior. It's straight, just so badass. He's just like a really cool pose, and it's definitely like one of the more unique ones in Awakening. Number 2 is Wallheart. Massive imposing stance, wide, like big white beady eyes just looking down on you, and his giant fuck you axe staring right at you. Like, Wallheart is just meant to be this giant, intense, and imposing figure. And I really enjoy how the artwork really just indulges in that, and has like him posing as if he's like looking down on you and everything. And like the big red armor makes him look, he's like infallible. Like there's no weakness to him. He literally looks like a god of war. And it's meant for him to look as fearsome as possible. It's like literally one of my favorite villain designs in the franchise. I'm pretty partial to big fuck off armor anyway. And this kind of stuff just butters my egg roll, man. Like even his axe is like so personified. It's just him. Like his whole getup is all him. Yeah, it's really cool. And number 1, my favorite artwork in Awakening is Cherish. I kind of hinted at this over Twitter, and I will explain, and obviously that reason is going to be there, but like, so yeah, she kind of has this like maid vibe, but it literally just ends there. Like you have that kind of, that top kind of hair piece reminds me of maids, and it does kind of remind me of Felicia and Flora, sorry. But that being said, I feel like Flora and Felicia, not to like shit on them, but I feel like their designs are really uninspired. It has that kind of maid, it reminds me of that maid, and Cherish kind of plays that role in the main story where she's like taking care of Virion because Virion can't like do anything by himself. And then she has like this really cool like wyvern wing collar, but that sort of pattern sticks out throughout like the rest of her design. It happens again like on her knee, like on her, I guess, knee pads and her boots, which is just really cool. It's like she's really into like being a wyvern lord or a wyvern knight, which is obviously, yeah, she is. I think like the silver pinstripes, like the armor is interestingly designed. I mean, it's not really practical, but that's kind of besides the point. And there's even personality in the axe itself, because you have like this purple ribbon like kind of draping down it. which gives it even more personality too. It's not just some weird axe that she has. It's just like, this is her axe. This is the ribbon that she has on it. But easily my favorite part about it is the back, the exposed back. She's so jacked. Like, to have a back that is that sculpted, and like when you're posing like this, like she could go in a bikini fitness contest, go in like the wellness and bikini category and just get first place, because like that is a jacked back. Like that is it's quite the V shape. And I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, wow, she is ripped. Like Cherish is ripped. And the fact that like the back is intentionally exposed just to show off how ripped her back is just like so cool. I find it so interesting. Like you can freaking like forge a greatsword over that shit. Like those dorsal muscles are just out of this world. And that's really why I most enjoy it, is because it's a very upright position, and it just shows how strong she is. It just shows how strong she is, and how like, but at the same time how composed and classy she is by standing completely upright with like a lot of great posture. And yeah, I think, and to top it off, like her hair really, I think, again, kind of like Jerome, it adds a lot more like pizzazz to the entire costume. If her hair was like a similar color, then it wouldn't be as interesting. But the fact that it has that much going on and it's just so cool is why I really like it. It's a really pretty, she's a really good looking woman. Fitness goals, man. So that was my top 10. I do have a bottom 10. I'm gonna talk about that in another video. That one's pretty funny. I mean, a lot of like my least favorite ones, you can probably take a guess. They probably won't surprise you. They're just the ones that I find are the most uninspired and kind of just ugly ones. Take some guesses. Give me your top 10, your bottom 10, and yeah. With that being said, I guess I'll catch you in the next one. Deuces.